of Judgment.
There you go. That's a long name. You should shorten that down. Whoa, well, we're on camera. I was going to scoot back because usually I move to the other monitor. I'll stay here for this
We're
one.
in our little box.
We LCS now. People can look at us.
Little box of Rays
oh,
in the room.
I can't get out.
All right. Enough of that. Let's talk about the Ashe ban, which has been a staple of the Rox Tigers, so very understandable that would be removed from the pool early on. And Nidalee actually against Score. Usually it's the other team's banning it against Peanut, but Peanut has been underwhelming this season so far. He went from a regular season 66% first blood contribution to bottom of the starting junglers at 22% so far this season. So he has not doing the same amount of work, especially in the early game that he used to.
Conversely, and perhaps weirdly, the Tigers have gotten up to number 1 in the league for warding per minute as a team, which is...
It's like Bizarro Tigers. I don't know what's going on. Their statistics have been quite unusual compared to what we were used to seeing from them in the spring. And now, look at the Kindred ban. So pretty standard bans here, except for the Pocket Ashe. But no sign of Zillion.
Not yet. Maybe this last one from the Tigers. What's it going to be? It's going to be the Varus. Okay, so they're worried about the damage coming out of Fly in the mid lane. Yeah,
needless to say, we didn't mention this, but Cry is going to be playing in the mid lane today.
Right.
As you can see on your screen right there, just in case you missed it. He did have, on an individual level, a pretty good Vladimir game in Game 2 versus SKT. And KT, probably not going to be prioritizing that Caitlyn pick. Maybe Aurelia will come out once the Trinity Force changes come through, but for now, the Azir is going to be quite likely.
Yep, there it is. First pick, Azir. I feel like this is kind of a behind-the-scenes at OGN thinking they can see what we're doing during the pick ban. We're actually like,
I'm writing picks and bans down. I know, it's really exciting. See, I have a sheet. It has a bunch of boxes on it.
This is the kind of content the fans want, though. They demand this. So, like, we want to see Monty Doa writing stuff down during picks and bans.
Well, they're getting their wish.
Oh, please pick the Amumu.
Well,
please do it. He's not going to do it. But
they did lose to the Amumu pick.
They did when they played MVP. MVP rocked the Amumu and rocked Rox hard.
It was well played, but also not adequately punished by the Rox Tigers. And instead, I think the Lucian is a good call. Ekko Lucian here.
Okay. Seems reasonable.
They didn't pick Swain. I'm happy about that. That's been
There's always
a problem
a
for them. As Smeb has been not great on the Swain this season. Struggled a bit on Fizz, struggled a bit on Swain, but they put a very heavy emphasis on the early Swain picks in their last draft, and I don't really know why. I don't really know why. Well, I didn't know why about anything in that draft. This draft making much more sense so far, and now I guess everybody's just going to hover the Amumu. Score, on the other hand, speaking of first blood percentages, he's at 57% this season, so very close to the top of the league. You know who's number 1?
Who?
Bengi. 75% over the 4 games that he's played.
That's right. Bengi is really coming back with a vengeance.
Yeah, he's been doing really well. The other weird thing about Peanut is that he is the lowest among starting junglers in gold differential at 10 minutes too, at -212, which is also a huge difference from last season where he was number 2 out of junglers. And he was number 1 out of starting junglers. He was only beaten by Crash. So even though he wasn't farming a lot, he was getting those first bloods, getting those kills, turning that into a gold lead, and it just hasn't happened this season.
Right. So Elise and Ezreal locked in for KT. So some pick potential and also some good kiting, some good damage, of course, from that Ezreal late. And what are the Rox Tigers going to go with here?
Just taking the Ez nice and early in the draft after having seen the Lucian.
Well, Gorilla was kind of the original Janna here in Korea anyway.
After the great Season 4 Janna revival.
That's right.
He was spearheading that one back on Najin White Shield. Thinking about actually taking a GP. Not a whole lot of GP being played here in Korea. I like the Lee Sin grab if they couple it with a Karma for some very fast, speedy engages, although the Rek'Sai could serve the same purpose.
Maybe Karma Rek'Sai. Do you realize we could put on a puppet show right now with this camera angle? We'd just like, hello? What are you going to pick Monte Cristo?
No, you have to get under the desk in order for that to work. Yeah, get down.
Well, I mean, I could have like the dancing, floating magical pen. Look. Whoa, how is it doing that? That's magic.
No, you're an illusionist now.
Whoa. Wow.
At least you have another career.
Look, And my other
Casting
hand
fails.
wasn't doing anything. It's amazing.
Okay. KT here, Hachani has preferred that Taric when available, even though we've seen it banned a number of times. And Vladimir still on the table.
We saw the Renekton once, but it was not very good.
Yes, I would not definitely recommend taking that Renekton when the Maokai is an option. And Ssumday, even though Renekton is his most played champion of all time, it's not the time or the place in the meta for Renekton at the moment.
Right.
Could use some love. And especially with the 50-50 nature of lane swaps, you can get yourself in a lot of trouble. Okay.
Yes, he did.
So going for...
Oh! Switching to Shen, really?
Wow, okay.
Taking the Shen. That would be the second time we've seen that this season, I believe.
Yes, but the first time was CJ attempting to play it into SK Telecom, and
yeah,
that did not work out well. They tried to play Shen Twitch. Last pick will be the LeBlanc, actually, for Cry. We'll see how he can do on that champion compared to Kuro, who is a known and noted LeBlanc player.
It's a good strong pick for the mid lane.
Now, I'm curious how this Shen is going to work out and what exactly the itemization is going to be. Again, very low wave pressure early, so he may get bullied around by the Ekko. I haven't seen too much top lane Shen since his rework, but he did struggle in the match we saw him up against the Maokai, and he took a lot of chip damage onto his turret. But his champion-to-champion traits and his 1v1 potential in the top lane is pretty good, considering he does get those powered-up auto attacks now.
Yep.
And he's great at kiting because of the dodge field he creates.
That's true.
So he's very good at keeping people alive in the backline.
He does have that sword that follows him around now.
Yeah, nothing says stealthy like a giant neon sword following you wherever you go.
He really didn't become a better ninja during his rework, did he?
No, he didn't.
Kind of became a worse ninja.
He became a much worse ninja, actually. You wouldn't have thought that was possible.
I know, right?
But now he has a giant glowing sword with him at all times.
It just gets worse.
And why is his ability called Twilight Assault if he's a ninja, by the way? When do you associate ninjas with assaulting?
Well, I mean, I suppose murdering someone is a form of assault, isn't it?
Legally, I suppose, yes. But technically, should it be like Twilight Assassination?
Yeah, Twilight Assassin. That sounds much cooler. Or Twilight Kill Ya. Well, let's go into game number one, guys. KT versus Tigers. CU jumps out to this early lead in a best of 3 here on LCK Summer on OGN. All right, here we go. Hey, guess what Drake it is? I bet you can't. It's a Cloud Drake. Oh, yeah. Our favorite Drake. What do you know?
We've only seen, what, 5, 6 of them tonight already?
This would be the
sixth or seventh.
We've seen 6 Cloud Drakes and 1 Ocean Drake. The most boring night of Dragons on League of Legends ever. As we move into KT versus Tigers game number 1, it's going to be a fun set of matches except for the Dragons. Wow,
Spirit's Refuge going to be coming in here, and that's the in this matchup, if we do get the 1v1, considering that he can nullify Ekko's stacking of his passive, the Z Drive Resonance, I'm curious how that is going to affect things, because that does account for quite a bit of the trading damage with Ekko, if you're able to get that. So take a look, see how Ssumday is going to play it. Ssumday never shying away from weird picks. As you can see, Yasuo did come in their last match against SK Telecom. It was not good.
I love the ambition, the attempt, you know?
Do you? Is that what you love?
I do. I really do. Well, there's the big old sword. Hanging out. Spirit's Refuge. Right? Because if anything ninjas are known for, it's providing refuge to people.
Yeah, they're really good at that, as I understand. They're very generous, taking people into their domain and protecting them. Protection is the first word that I think of when I think of ninjas.
Yeah, well, you know, they stand up to the samurai for the little guy. That's their campaign slogan, standing up to the samurai for the little guy. Hachani, uh-oh, you may have delved too greedily and too deep. Exhaust onto Smeb as Hachani flashes away. Arrow comes in for a bit more damage. Blue buff does go over to Smeb in the end. Oh, wait, no. Goes over to Peanut. My bad.
My bad. Gorilla will respond with a tap onto the mid lane. You know, Hachani nearly died again right there. He did actually die in their last series.
Yeah,
that was actually one of my favorite Hachani moments of all time, where he went into the enemy red buff at level 1 while the jungler was there. He then proceeded to flash into the red buff to steal it, but then immediately gave out first blood and gave the red buff back. I was like, that is the maximum amount of Hachani that I've ever seen.
That is 150% Hachani in that play right there.
That was so funny.
He like transcended Hachani and became like Super Saiyan Hachani, you know?
It was a special new Hachani moment for all of us to enjoy.
It was. How deep does the Hachani rabbit hole go? Where? Well, we know now. Or at least we think we do. Until the next time.
Well, Hachani probably not going to need his flash, so that play probably won't be the biggest deal.
How about his exhaust? How about Arrow's summoner heal?
No, they'll probably all be back up by the time this lane swap settles out. So
probably. Well, it is a lane swap, so there probably isn't going to be a ton of action.
Smeb
the initial phases.
Smacking away with his bat.
Yep.
It's a nice little cricket bat.
It's not really a sword, is it? Yeah,
it's a cricket bat.
A cricket bat, yeah. So they play cricket in Runeterra, huh? Out of all the sports they could have picked from Earth, they picked cricket. Really, Riot? You picked cricket.
You mean really, Runeterra champions? Why would you pick cricket?
Well, I mean, I guess they were just kind of, oh, Gorilla gets caught a little bit. Ults, not ults, but uses that mantra rather to speed him over the E. Has to flash in the end to avoid the damage from Fly.
If Hachani had flash, he probably could have gotten that kill. Just saying.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Just
a good point. Well, I think they picked cricket because they wanted to pick the longest game possible. And that's kind of the idea here.
So Hachani didn't show. This means that they have no idea that Nami is still there, and they're making a big-time statement as they head into the 1v1. Prey.
He knows. He's got to know what's up here. If you're gonna go for it, you got to go for it now.
Hello?
Arrow coming
KT?
back. I think you want to go for this one, right?
Maybe they're waiting for Gorilla for the round 2.
Oh, here comes a ward though. Or not. All right, Cocoon on the Gorilla, and he is not going to make it out of this, I think. No, double teleport coming in for Rox Tigers. KT on the run now as Prey goes ahead. Score has to flash away. Here comes Cry, chains onto Hachani. Parallel convergence goes down. There's first blood for Prey. And this match is already living up to our expectations, I gotta say. Oh, goodbye, Score. There's another kill for the Rox Tigers. And that was not the greatest gank of all time. I don't know, man. I'm not convinced. Nice flash, bro. Oh, man, it's a nightmare. Double chains, double the excitement. Cry gets the kill.
I'm dying, though.
You're not as dying as much as KT, though. That's the issue here.
That whole setup.
We NA Challenger now.
Oh, my God. So, first off, to start that, KT's idea to catch Gorilla there wasn't that bad. But as soon as they didn't get the kill, they're like, all right, here's the game plan. We're going to let Smeb push all the way down to our tier 2 because we're not actually going to be swapping right here. We're going to recall our Ezreal and sending them to like, what should we wait for to kill him? Yes, the tier Ezreal.
Let's watch this again.
Tier Ezreal. We need the tier Ezreal here to help us. Gorilla's just like, what? Mantra, shield, and then they play against 2 TPs, and they know there's no pressure, and Smeb just recalled the base, and they think that they could actually pull this one off.
I don't know, man. I look at this, and I'm like, you know, maybe NA does have a chance at Worlds this year. Maybe they do.
My favorite part was Arrow going back into the mid lane and then getting
I know, right?
knocked up and killed also. So I guess let's just feed all the members of the Rox Tigers. Well,
yeah.
Rox isn't going to have to do much of this game. They have a LeBlanc and a Lucian with kills already, and they're going to take over the early game. Cry's like, well, if you're going to play like that, I'm going to buy Darksteel.
Yeah, just go right into that in the Jives, man.
Well, at least Ssumday got some farm, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's really helpful on the Shen.
He's going to balance out with Smeb, though, because Smeb has a huge wave, which will put him pretty much equal in the farm category, because Smeb got to farm all the way down to the tier 2 because KT did the weirdest lane swap ever. That's why you don't do lane swaps like that, because you lose so much tempo. But man, the communication there was an issue for KT. Not even knowing where the Ekko was.
That was one of the...
and then committing to that.
That was one of the biggest team fails I think I've ever seen.
It was really bad. Truly,
Lucian, yeah.
truly awful.
That was impressive. Man, Yui Bowl couldn't have directed that play better.
But the fact is they spent so much time doing it that look at Prey's CS now.
Yeah. And he's got a kill and an assist
also,
as well.
Cry also somehow got a bunch of CS out of that entire shenanigans. I don't even know how you do that after you TP into the bottom side. I wasn't even paying attention. I was just laughing too hard.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it.
I did enjoy it.
There's a point where the plays become so bad that you aren't tilted. You're just entertained, really,
I was
at that point.
thoroughly entertained by that.
There you go. Silver lining. You'll have to tell KT that after the match. You're like, that was horrible, but you kept me entertained. Thanks.
But it was a good chuckle.
Yep. Good for a laugh, those KT Rolster players. I feel like we've gone through the 5 stages of grief with you and KT over the years, and you finally reached acceptance just now.
Yeah, my least favorite KT team, the KT Arrows, was the one that actually won the championship
I know, right?
instead of the Bullets. Yeah, bad times.
Hey, you made a bad choice, you know? Unlucky!
That's what they tell me.
Well, Fly used the Emperor's Divide there, trying to make a play on the Cry, but Cry just got right back out of there. And now it's 9 minutes into the game, and Rox Tigers have a 3,000 gold lead. About 2.5.
Well, that's the kind of day it's going to be in. Again, with the Rox Tigers composition, really couldn't be worse for KT. They were looking to scale with Azir and the Ezreal. Now they've got to deal with this LeBlanc and this Lucian with a huge lead already.
The thing is, too,
Ezreal's just going to be useless forever, by the way, too, because he is 30 CS behind.
The thing is, too, that the Rox Tigers are very good at closing games quickly. Even this season where some of the games have been kind of bad.
They were very good at closing.
Yeah, so if you get behind the Rox Tigers like this, they are probably not going to show you a lot of mercy.
No, they won't. Cry already has 3 Dark Steel stacks, too, I think.
Sweet. Squinting to try to see it. I think that looks like a... yeah, it looks like a 3 on my tiny screen, too. Oh, why not get the Rift Herald?
Yeah, this is one of those times where it's like, well, might as well.
Yeah. No reason not to.
Gonna go for the Cloud Drake. Good joke.
Yep. Give it over to Smeb. One of those few times the Rift Herald is
I think that just shows us how
valuable.
bad the Cloud Drake is right there.
Well, you told me an interesting stat about the Cloud Drake
Oh, yeah, Deficio.
Before
Deficio,
games, yeah.
Deficio tweeted this, guys. I thought it was hilarious. So apparently they did the casters in Europe did some internal testing on the Cloud Drake, and they figured out that with one Cloud Drake stack, it makes walking from bot lane to mid a whopping 0.5 seconds faster.
Wow.
Oh boy.
That is a good buff. That Cloud Drake.
And who's going to stake a possibly game-losing team fight on that?
Yep.
Nobody.
GG Cloud Drake. Oh, man.
The best part about Cloud Drake is removing it so you can get a real Drake next time.
That's right. That's the idea. Oh, Cocoon. Tried to catch Cry there, but wasn't able to do it. What if the Cloud Drake increased attack speed?
Might be a little bit too powerful, because the problem is you can't scale attack speed. So if you give a percentage attack speed, you're going to be giving that buff immediately. Whereas at least Infernal Drake, because it's percentage of attack damage at AP, means that it's not like usually an immediate buff in the early game.
What if, when you took damage, it activated a speed boost for a temporary time?
That would be broken.
What if you just were always boosted? I don't know.
You could always make the argument that you could have some sort of percentage armor and MR boost to counteract the attack damage and AP boost.
What does that have to do with air, though?
Dodging.
It's got to be an air theme. Well, dodging. Hey, we don't say that word in League of Legends anymore, all right?
We have Shen. I'm sorry. We actually are going to talk about that there during this game.
Shadow Dash.
No,
he
creates a dodge. He creates a dodge field.
That's true. He does, actually, doesn't he? Dodge is back, guys. His W gives you dodge.
Is an Infernal Drake next, which is also super bad for KT because there's no way that they can fight it as a result of having super starved Ezreal and a Lucian against him. So basically that's going to be free for the Rox Tigers, barring some sort of absolute calamity for them.
Super starved Ezreal sounds like the least exciting action figure League of Legends has ever produced. He's really skinny and doesn't have a lot of energy to move around.
He's also one of the most, or least exciting champions that League of Legends has ever produced, coincidentally.
It's also true.
He just sits there, wallowing in his tier of the goddess.
A single tier in his inventory.
Well, Ghostblade already done onto Prey.
Not bad.
Cole too, and he's going to walk in the mid lane. And
oh, he didn't pop his Ghostblade before he did that, though.
what a move.
Yeah. He's fired. You're fired, Prey. You're fired. I guess you better get used to hearing that.
No,
elected president.
no, I will not get used to hearing that. I'm glad we live in Korea, Noah. We're safe here.
For now.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
It was down to 1 HP. Score didn't have the smite. The 1 HP.
That's the second time we've seen that happen in this week. A 1 HP buff going over to the other side.
Nice stealer from Gorilla. There's
Yeah.
one more thing going wrong. Now the Azir doesn't get the blue buff. Prey is already in the mid lane, while LeBlanc is going to split push with teleport. So really early lane reassignments here from the Rox Tigers. Interesting, but considering that they know they can already outduel anybody with this LeBlanc, you might as well just, why not do this? Honestly.
True. Oh, red buff was not taken by Peanut. Wasn't able to quite steal that away, I believe.
This is the sad time where your Arrow, where you actually can't walk into any lane or you're going to die.
Yeah.
So people are going to criticize Arrow, being like, why is he doing nothing? Why is he not farming? Well, his only other alternative right now is walk into lane against LeBlanc with Morello, Namicon, and Darksteel. He will die. So don't do that if you're Arrow. He basically just has to sit in the mid lane and collect this minion wave that Azir had to recall.
Yep. Well, Cry down in bot lane now. Doing a bit of pushing. And you can see from the warding, actually the warding is really good from the Rox Tigers, which is weird to say, but this season they actually have been doing a bit better with vision.
Well, they've been doing a lot better. They're no longer the number 10 team in the league in wards per minute.
They're the number 1 team in the league right now, which is bizarre. Number 1 or number 2?
Number 2. They're number 2. Jin Air is actually number 1 in terms of both wards placed and wards cleared.
Right. Okay, they're number 2.
But I don't know that
good.
It may have changed after those Jin Air games that we saw earlier tonight.
What, they would have moved from number 1 to more number 1?
Well, it could have dropped to lower than the Rox Tigers. That's a possibility.
I feel like
they were only like
at least
0.02 away, so definitely a possibility.
I mean, they also have longer games too, so that makes the Rox Tigers stat, I think, even more impressive.
Yeah. Well, depends. You can run out of wards in the late game if you don't have inventory slots. So, I haven't really thought about game length and wards per minute. We're just going to wait here for the Infernal Drake.
Yep.
That's what everyone's excited about, Infernal Drake.
I'm excited about it. Yay, Infernal Drake.
Peanut is Tremor Sensing.
Yep, fine score there, probably.
Oh, yes.
Oh, Gorilla finds him.
Everybody finds him. Poking away at score.
Yep. Run! Oh. Even got hit with the mastery. All right, they're going for the tier 2 already. 2-shot barrage takes a chunk out of the minion wave.
Basically all they could hope for. Yeah. You just don't recover from a botched play like that KT made, especially against the Rox Tigers team composition. Why even do that? You wanted to scale in the first place. Stop trying to be fancy and get kills. Kills aren't even worth that much. The farm that you can get on your top laner is a much more valuable aspect of this game in a lane swap anyway. Bizarre. Not sure what KT's thought process there was.
It was probably a bizarre thought process.
Like I said, I think they just got overeager because they got the drop onto Gorilla previously, and that actually did work. So they tunneled really hard on getting some sort of follow-up kill, but it took so long for Arrow to get over to that side of the map that they just ended up standing around and then feeding 3 kills over.
Yeah. It was a nice attempt from Prey and Gorilla a moment ago to try to catch Fly. It's very close. Ssumday waiting to stand united with somebody on his team. And it failed pretty hard when we saw it with Twitch last time.
They didn't even really use Stand United in
no.
that game. Tara really struggling
Well, they never tried to make an aggressive play with it. That's the thing. They got so far behind that defensive play was just never going to actually have any effect.
Well, yeah, exactly. They lost all their lanes, so they couldn't actually make an offensive play with it.
Sure. Shen just is really bad at forgetting his sword everywhere. Maybe that's what happened is Shen has his sword, right, and he kept forgetting it everywhere. So finally, the like mystical ninja teachers or whoever he reports to was like, you know what, Shen, we're just going to like enhance. We're going to enchant your sword so that it always comes back to you whenever you do anything, because you were forgetting it so much. And this is an expensive sword. It was made 2,000 years ago from Meteor. Look at the damage from Cry.
That's why Arrow can't farm.
Yep. And
it's going to get even harder now, Doa.
Yep, there's even more damage for the Rox Tigers. One Infernal Drake coming right up. And this game is more or less, do I dare say it?
It's over.
Okay. You said it, not me.
Especially, so talking about the Rox Tigers, certainly they were gifted this game, but at the same time, we have to respect their lane assignments because most teams would not have moved LeBlanc into that side lane at 13 minutes. They wouldn't have put a Youmuu's Ghostblade Lucian in, but that is absolutely the right move to apply the most pressure.
Yeah.
And they're pulling it off. And especially because Fly went for a Negatron cloak, and now he's got to deal with a Ghostblade Lucian in the mid lane. Like, there's no way he can actually fight this guy, and he's spent 700 gold on an item that really doesn't do anything for him.
It's refund. Wow, Cry tries to steal that red buff. Doesn't get it.
And Rox is just pushing all their advantages right now. They're not overcommitting. Yeah. Just poke them out.
Smeb got found by Ssumday there. Trying to back away. Rox Tigers still focusing on that mid lane turret, though, more than anything. And they get it. Not at the moment, it looks like, but no rush.
Yeah, LeBlanc could just go back to the bottom side. They can recall, get some more vision down, set up for a few more picks. Just keep on rolling with their 20-minute 5,000 gold lead, which is about to be growing even larger. KT lucky that due to the lane swap, they are not going to get perfect gamed. There's not that possibility on the table anymore. They did get a turret.
Ssumday trying to. Ooh, he went for the Shadow Dash, but he didn't quite catch Smeb. If he could have, that might have been very dangerous. It still may be.
He has no mana.
Yeah, Smeb's in a bit of trouble here. Can he TP away? Probably not. Here comes Gorilla. Nice, slow, nice shield. Wow, Gorilla is saving the day there.
And nobody's in the bottom side. Ooh, Prey. Knows that the Azir ult and the barrier were still up, so doesn't actually go after that. But guess what? Peanut just ults into the bottom side. They'll trade a tier 2 for a tier 1.
Not a bad trade if you are the Rox Tigers. There it goes. So the lead continues to slowly grow for the Tigers. It's up to about 5,500 gold right now.
Well, the real problem for KT is they can only farm 2 lanes on the map right now because they can't go anywhere near Cry. So the gold lead, like you said, is going to balloon over time because Rox is just going to be able to continuously farm all 3 with their TPs. They don't really have to do anything. They don't even have to use their TPs. They can just sit in those lanes and farm forever. And I'm not sure giving Ssumday all of this farm is the way for them to get back in this game. But meanwhile, Prey is now up 218 to 137 CS over Arrow.
That's a lot.
Nobody can walk over there. They're going to try and send Azir against Ekko and see if that will work. But Ekko already has the Spirit Visage and the Merc Treads and another Negatron Cloak, so he's not really going to be taking any kind of AP damage. And KT is very AP heavy, so Smeb's itemization is apt for this scenario. They have 4 AP champions and an Ezreal. Can basically handle anything that's thrown at him with this build. I like it.
Very true. And so, Rox Tigers, I mean, when they finally find KT, when they finally get that team fight, could be very one-sided.
Azir has to be super careful in this side lane, too, that he isn't ganked out here by the Rek'Sai. They could use some more T4s, Rox Tigers in the enemy jungle.
Cry. There's two-shot barrage going through the minion wave again. That turret very low. Culling popped. Forces a lot of members of KT away. Gives him a little bit of life loss.
Just giving him the life loss.
That's right.
Here you go, life loss for free.
The gift of lost life. Sounds very sinister. See, when you're a caster, sometimes you start to say one sentence and decide to turn it into a different sentence. And
it's one of the most exciting parts about casting.
It is, really. It happens to everybody. Ask him, yeah.
You don't even know what you're doing a lot of the time.
No. But it all turns out okay in the end, doesn't it? Usually. I don't think either. You know, the funny thing is I was about to say the sentence, I don't think any of us have ever misspoke. That's, never mind. I give up. It turned out fine.
It did turn out fine. See, it turned into a funny story. So.
Yeah. And we laughed. We shared a humorous moment with each other and the fans.
A hearty chuckle was had by all.
It was great. Good for us. Well, Rox Tigers just kind of biding their time now,
really. I mean, they're just farming, and that's all they have to do.
Yep.
Ssumday's up here right now to help take that blue buff. The KT is, they have to move as a 5-man unit or else they die. And KT is happy with this scenario. It's just like, okay, well, we're just going to grow and grow and grow our gold lead. What are you going to do about it? Sitting in a pink ward waiting to ambush somebody who comes with a red buff when it spawns.
Dragon's up in a couple seconds here. Red buff.
They don't know Cry is there.
The phage is real. Whoa, that's a lot of damage on that Elise. Score has to book it out of there immediately. Red buff does go over to Peanut, I believe.
Yes, it's on Peanut right now.
Yep. Smoked that away, and it's a Mountain Drake. Wow, things just keep getting better for the Rox Tigers. Oh, man.
Mountain Drake pretty good in that split push scenario with the 1-3-1 and the double teleport.
I've heard. Well, when it rains, it pours for KT Rolster. And even though it never does rain on Summoner's Rift, apparently.
Doesn't even snow anymore. Just
Yeah.
one season. Global warming has struck.
I guess so.
Summoner's Rift, perpetually summer.
Yep. Might as well call it Summer Rift.
No, it's not a rift. If they're going to change the name, they need to remove the summoner, which doesn't exist anymore in League of Legends.
Well, what would we still haven't found out a name for the map. Like Summer Forest, maybe?
There you go.
I'd call it like Green Zone, but that was already taken by Sonic the Hedgehog a long time ago.
It's all right.
Green Hills?
Riot loves copying other intellectual properties, so I'm sure they'll be okay with it.
There you go. Ah, yeah. So, oh. Cocoon. Not it. And you're getting even lower, but it doesn't really matter. Rox will take it out when they feel like it. I mean, the Tigers will. Remember, they don't want us to say Rox. They just want to be the Tigers.
I just want to be the Tigers on the screen. It's okay. Let's call them Rox.
The Tigers on the screen. The Rox, I don't know, somewhere else on the internet. Social media, probably.
Tigers on the screen, but Rox in the tag.
Rox in the tag. That's right. Yep.
Although this is just one of those games that there's nothing to talk about because...
I mean, because
because of level 1.
Wait, let me analyze this for you. I got it. So KT really can't do a whole lot right now because they're vastly weaker than the Rox Tigers. The Rox Tigers aren't incentivized by being more aggressive. Well, here comes a teleport. As I say it, immediately the opposite happens. But this is all just a clever ruse to zone KT away from the mid lane turret, which is already down.
The ruse has been enacted and is successful. Smeb is going to block him off there. Take out the Azir turret, I guess.
You sure it's ruse and not ruse? I mean, it's not.
Ruse is a Bolton.
It's not
ruse is a scheme.
I was going to say, well, it's not ruse Bolton. Hence, going off of the Game of Thrones naming conventions, it should be ruse.
Okay. It's not spelled the same either, but that's fine.
Are you kidding? There's other names in Game of Thrones that are just like other words, like Stark. That's pronounced the same way.
It's also spelled the same.
It's a pretty stark realization
It's
for you, I know.
It's spelled the same too.
Yeah.
Not like ruse and ruse.
Well, we all hate that character. So.
Yep, someday it's just going to get some split pushing done, I guess.
All right. He's being allowed to split push. Here comes Smeb. 7,000 gold now the lead for the Rox Tigers. They continue to increase that.
Peanut, thinking about cutting him off, they do change their mind, however.
You know, the sword flies towards Shen point first. That seems really unsafe.
It's a spirit sword, though, so he's got control over it with his mind. He's not going to cut himself.
I guess. What about
It's
other
like
people?
Aurelia. That's why she has all those swords flying around herself all the time.
Yeah, but like, what about when the sword's flying towards him and somebody else gets in the way, you know? He doesn't intend.
That's how accidents happen.
Yeah.
That's
like,
actually how Shen's dad died.
Got dark fast. Shen's out like picking up the morning newspaper.
They thought it was Zed, but it really wasn't.
Oh.
It was a ninja school accident.
I hate it when that happens. That sounds too much like the Lee Sin story. Now that is dark, man. Goes blind, basically turns an entire village, men, women, and children inside out. Oops. It happens. Time to retire him to the League of Legends.
Time to spend a lifetime embroiled in violent acts against other people and or creatures.
That's right. You know, to atone for your randomly violent act.
Makes sense.
Yep.
I think that all lines up ethically.
I think we're in a good place with that one. Rox Tigers trying to put themselves in a good place to finish this game up. Now they're starting to really put a lot of control over the enemy side of the map. Red buff goes over to Peanut again. And Cry just already doing damage to that mid lane tier 2.
Yep, it's a slow grind here.
Sure is.
Rox have no reason to fight. Just don't want that Shen to actually affect this game in any way.
Nope.
Just poke him out with the Ghostblade
Shen.
culling.
Hi. Oh, right on the Cry. Actually, they get a nice shadow dash onto him. Cry in a little bit of trouble, maybe. Meanwhile, a turret does go down in favor of the Rox Tigers. Cry still alive for the moment. Score has to back away. Tidal Wave comes through. Ssumday shadow dashing out of the fight now. Parallel convergence zones quite nicely. The Rox Tigers get out. The fact that they couldn't even pick up a kill on the Cry during that scenario where they completely caught him unawares, that is not a good sign for KT Rolster.
Well, though, they also didn't have any damage. We're talking about a Cowl Locket Elise and a pure tank Shen. So they can catch him out with CC, but there's nothing to actually kill him and all of that.
It's true.
Not going to be too successful. Oh, Luden's Echo now. You know, whatever, Void Staff.
Yeah, man.
Massive AoE damage from Cry.
Make it happen.
Bray has 3,000 more gold than Arrow.
Yeah, pretty much everybody. Well, mid and AD carry from the Rox Tigers are at least 2.5 ahead of their lane opponents.
That's what you get from farming an extra lane for the last 30 minutes.
Certainly does help.
Rox can go for this Baron pretty much anytime they want.
Yep. Well, this isn't saying good things about Shen, really.
Actually, Ssumday's doing okay in spite of everything that happened.
Yeah. But
he's winning these duels against Ekko, which...
Can he turn a team fight around, though?
Well, he's got to be the carry.
That I have
He's
my
got to
doubts.
do it with full tank items.
Yeah, so the answer is no, is what you're saying?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Unless he hits the world's best Shadow Dash and hits all of their carries at once, and then they all explode to Azir Sand Soldiers.
Unless, like, he gets out like a Ouija board and channels the Spirit of Flame from 2 years ago. Hits an amazing, like, flash taunt on 4 people. Unless he does that.
Rox should just go for this Baron. I don't know why they're messing around with the turrets now. They have all the waves pressed up. Looks like they are pinging it and heading backwards. Rox leaving Cry behind just to clear that out and be the last person through the jungle.
They've got that mountain break, so the Baron actually falling fairly quickly. Here comes KT. This is a fight they need to win. Baron very, very low. Can they steal it? No, not quite. Scored, goes for it. Tries to make a play, can't do it. Nice culling through the middle of everybody. Good zoning from the Rox Tigers as well. Parallel convergence for the double stun on the Ssumday and score. And Rox Tigers already getting a big lead in this team fight. They don't need to try to chase this. They've got the Baron buff. They can just push lanes.
Yeah, they have the priority on the lanes already. Just go ahead, push those minion waves forward. Use recall onto Smeb, and he's just going to ult right back in after getting a buy completed.
That's right. And so, KT is 11,000 gold down now. And what can you do? It's a rhetorical question. You don't need to answer that.
I'm going to answer it.
Go, okay, go ahead.
Nothing.
Whoa. Great analysis. All right, well, there goes the turret. You know, there's still a Cloud Drake they can take.
Oh, goody.
Take the Drake.
I think they should take some base turrets instead. Go for the inhibitors.
I suppose.
I don't think we need this game to last any longer. We just go back and get a more normal game of League of Legends going in the best of 3. That is the nice thing about best of 3s, is that at least if you take a risk and totally mess it up like KT did, it's not the end of the world. You could still actually come back and win the series.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of those NA fans are enjoying the best of 3 format now. It is vastly superior. I'm glad that the LCS switched over.
It's pretty awesome. And of course, it's nice that we have the best of 2 for the Europeans, because they love ties so much. So
yeah,
everybody gets what they want. It's great. There goes inhibitor number 1 in the mid lane. And wow, inhibitor turret down the bot lane, already about half health. They catch and score out with the parallel convergence. Just going to zone, just going to get that turret. Ssumday trying to do what he can on the Shen. Here comes the tidal wave. Hits a lot of people, forces Prey to flash back. Smeb on the run as well. The Rox Tigers getting a bit low with that Karma speed boost, so they should be able to disengage this pretty easily. Uh-oh, Peanut caught out. Smeb trying to recall. That's a dangerous place to recall, Smeb. That was a bad idea. He's got the GA at least. He's going to come back with even more health. There we go.
Got him by the taunt.
Wow. Unlucky. Oh, goes
nice
back in though. Yeah, man, good damage on the KT from that Ekko ult. And now the culling comes through.
God.
Oh, it's a shooting gallery. Double kill already from Prey. He's got 3. Can he get 4? There's 4. One more, and
no,
Peanut!
No!
Peanut denies the pentakill.
That was one of the best pentakill setups I've ever seen, Doa. It was so easy to give that over to Prey.
I wish we had a player shot right now. That's tragic that we don't. That's going to be the end of the game, and, and the Rox Tigers, at about 35 minutes, are going to close this one out. Prey's going to take the commercial break to probably physically assault Peanut for denying his pentakill, but I can't blame him. I'm behind him 100%.
That's actually scary for Peanut, because Prey is literally 3 times his size.
Prey could break him in half. Like, Peanut could ride inside Prey like a Gundam robot.
Basically,
that's the size difference we're talking about.
Prey and Peanut is like Willump and Nunu.
That's true.
Like, that's
very true.
They could actually like cosplay as that, and it would be acceptable.
Yeah. So how about that? The Rox Tigers getting their win, and it did not look hard at all. It's in fact quite easy. But KT has a chance to come back in game number 2. You know, that's the kind of game where...
Without any silly early game stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it was a bad start. What can you do?
Well played by the Rox Tigers, though. They took those 3 kills and they turned them... They snowballed that really smoothly into a game win with basically no chance for KT to ever come back.
Yeah, they did it about as fast as you can in League of Legends right now. And so,